Hey guys, Bound to Divide here with Ableton Tips, and today I'm going to teach you about voice leading. Okay, so voice leading is basically a concept where we take chords or chord progression and we try and make the movement between those two chords or between each chord a lot smoother. Okay, so this is the chord progression we're going to be working with. And now, when you have a look at this chord progression, what you'll see is that the movements between each chord are kind of big jumps. If you had to think about playing this on an actual piano, your hand would be like moving up and down the keyboard quite a lot. And that's okay in some senses. Maybe if you're writing like a dramatic song or something, you'd want a lot of big jumps up and down the keyboard. But if you're trying to write something that's like just a bit more smooth and like tasteful and emotional, you can use voice leading to make the movements between the chords a lot smoother. Okay, so if we look at our first two chords, you'll see that both of the chords have the note C in them. We can play the C in any octave and the chord will still be the same chord. It'll just be what we call an inversion. If we move it up, it'll be called the first inversion. And I'm not going to really get too much into inversions in this lesson. If you want to take a deeper dive into music theory, we have some more courses linked below, and we also have a bunch of other music theory tutorials on the channel you can go and look at. But basically, the gist of it is that you can play all of these notes in whichever octave you choose. So here we can move the C up. I'm going to hold shift and hit the up arrow, and now that C is being played up here. And now if you had to think about playing that as a piano player, movement of your fingers wouldn't even be that far. It's just basically these bottom two notes that are moving down a couple steps. And now the movement between these two chords sounds like this. And to me that sounds a lot more emotional and interesting than this movement, which feels kind of basic.
Just a quick break before we go back to the tutorial. If you find these type of videos helpful, we can highly recommend the PML Academy with over 35 full-length online courses, spreading over topics like writing chords and melodies or arranging your songs to producing entire songs from start to finish. So check out the link in the description to see what's inside the all courses bundle exactly.
Okay, so we've moved the C up and now we've got these two notes that are repeating. And if we look at this third chord, we'll see that the C continues over here. So maybe it's a good idea to keep that C going. We don't want to move that note, but we've also got an E, which is a common note here. So we could bring this E down to this octave, and now we've got a really smooth chord progression where we're repeating these C's across here and then these two E's. So let's listen to how that sounds. Okay, so the last chord doesn't really have anything in common with this chord or with this one. And I think it sounds fine the way it does. You know, when you learn something like voice leading, it's really just a tool, and all tools in music theory or in music should be used sparingly, in my opinion. So it's like if you're using voice leading through a chord progression, there's no rule that says you have to use it between each chord. It's fine to just do it on these three and then leave the last chord like that. But there are a few things that we could do to make this a little more interesting if we wanted. And one of them is using suspended chords. Again, if you don't know what suspended chords are, I'm not really going to give you a whole lesson on them now. Like I said, we do have other tutorials and suspended chords are covered. And we've also got a full music theory course. Okay, so if we were to use suspended chords here, we could take this middle note and turn it into a sus2 chord by bringing it down to the A, or we could make it a sus4 chord by bringing it up to the C. Then we've got this note in common, C note, which makes the chord progression a bit smoother. And the nice thing about suspended chords is they also add a little bit of tension. Okay, so let's try moving the B up. So we're making a sus4 chord, and now we've got the C note in common. Yeah, like that. Let's try bringing it down to the A. Now we making that common note the A. I like that one the most, I think. Okay, so that's it for this lesson. Hopefully you understand what voice leading is now. If you want to learn more about music theory, be sure to check out our courses linked below on harmony and melody writing. And for more helpful music theory tips, be sure to check out our other videos on the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.